Mama Seta, Ashadu Ashate Ashawan vibrations, every bucka. May your mind, bucks, and souls be old. May your omits be sound. May your buckas be leaven off ground. When we keep to the breath, the orth, the moth, or the seon, the soul of Ra guides and keeps you old. Ion ma I say Ra, Ella E say L say I, Christ or a chaplain taught to Amin Ra. I'm on Truth Awareness True Talk, can be a part of the greatest transfer of Ma else, that's intelligence, Aminology to Angodu. This is sound logic. And with all that being offered to you, being a fool is absolutely your choice. To Ray is Ray 1865. Go to Google, go to Apple, download that Kagadora app. Go to jesus.com, sign up, get the iBucket to Omen to replace your prayers. Get the Mithorian Kagadora file. Click the link, go to aminra.com. Buy some apparel, buy some books, buy the Mithorian Kagadora. When you sign up at jesus.com, you also get access to the erectionary. Because the words of the dictionary die your erection. So we got the Ta'angodu sound logic decoding search engine. We're speaking Ta'angodu because we speak motion. I don't consent to draconian state, nor should you. Hashtag that in your post. Your thoughts are spores that spawns intelligence.fungi.org. Don't forget, your mental health is directly tied to your etheric compass. You got to orientate yourself to sound. That's what we do at jesus.com. You're saved by sound. That's SAV by sound.com. And of course, we got that crypto shit shower update reminding you that the blockchain is not a financial umbrella that you can hold and prevent shit from head. And we also are rocking a Mithorian Kagadora update on a Rayleigh. So lots of good stuff for you to support. Now, of course, you've been looking at a YouTube video screen of a fellow who's talking about how the UFC is kind of having a little chaos. This particular part of the video addresses Islam, speaking about how Dana White is kind of losing interest, it seems. He needs to go back to the way things were before. So anyways, we got to add some sound logic to things, all right? And we got to, see why, people are acting like they're not satisfied with the matchmaking, but yet you have the UFC and the media trying to tell you otherwise, right? Trying to tell you that these are the matchups that the so-called fans want to see. I think like every other fan, pretty much. And I'm not exposed to too many MMA fans, wanting, the way things are going with the matchups. So let's just do some decoding. All right? They got some big deal, paramount. So we're going to decode that word, paramount. And we're also going to, put some sound logic to why it seems, what's happening with the matchmaking and, the marketing. In this video, it also talks about how and shows example on how, the UFC really took care of their own marketing and put a lot of time, movie level production into their MMA fighters and, into their marketing. And now, basically that, he's highlighting that it seems the UFC is doing a lot less of that, leaving a lot of things up to YouTube. And, I'm just going to tell you the way that it is. It's AI. Okay? You got it, people? Okay? Dana and most people, especially that are dealing, with sports and other organizations. This is why I founded the Paranormal Mirror League Sports Simulation. Okay? Because sports is a religion. All right? Sports is a religion. Okay? And so we have two things we're dealing with. We're dealing with the marketing aspect of it. And so your production, your matchmaking, pretty soon you're judging, if not already, and a lot of other things are going to be left to AI. So you're going to have a human component missing. Okay, so the soul is being removed. You understand? The soul is being removed. All right? We got to understand, okay, that Ra, all right, is back. Okay? And so there's a race. Okay, there's a race to capture your mind permanently. Okay, because if you have a choice, you're not going to be choosing this artificial bullshit. Okay? When you have a sports gambling now being a discussion in the UFC, and then you have matchmaking, okay, when you have a number one contender like Armin, passed over, and just so many things that are going on, right? It's looking like they want, the fighters that have, the best YouTubers. You have fighters now that are, instead of fighting, they're streaming. They're trying to build a stream, literally, right? And so you got to see what it is, peeps. You got to see what it is, and what it is you're having, AI wanting and not wanting, taking over. Okay, that's just what it is. Okay, so Dana White's not going to seem like Dana White. Pretty soon you guys are going to be saying, oh, Dana White's cloned. Or even going to say this fighter is cloned. Okay, that's literally what's going to happen. You're going to see, maybe you'll see Ilya come back, and all of a sudden he'll be a little taller and a little thicker, and you'll be like, what the fuck? Right? I'm just putting things out there for you to recognize and realize what you're dealing with. You're also dealing with technology. You're dealing with frequency control. So that's sound control. This is thoughts. This is energies. This is emotions. Okay, and so when you have all these fighters believing in God and saying God, you guys have to know that God is the system. Okay, God is not Ra. Okay, God is not Ba'am. God is not sound. Okay, God is the word. God is the parasite. Okay, God is the parasite, people. All right, and so when you are doing things for the parasite, well, this is what's going to happen. All right, this is what's going to happen, because you want to. We're in a situation. All right, we're, like I've said, for those who are new. God is the word, okay? That's what it is. That usurped sound in the book of John that became God. Okay? All religions, all matters, forms, institutions, anything to do with any form of authority is acting under the false authority of Ra. Okay? Which is the red sun. Which is a Seon. You got that? So now that you've figured out what the battle is all about, you need to recognize and realize and prepare that by using sound logic and now participating in watching this form of entertainment with sound senses, you can actually correct it. That's right, people. We have the power to correct it. Okay, because at the end of the energy, this is formed to take our energy. Okay, all of this stuff that it's being doing, this arena, everything is being put together to pit sound against the word to extract your energy. Okay, you got it? So let's decode the word paramount. We got the P equals application. Okay, you have R for Ra. So this means Ra has been augmented. And the augmentation is defecting you. Okay, so when we are defected, whatever is being replaced, in this case our senses, need to be replaced with something. So this now is replaced by symbology and eyesight. So instead of your senses operating your brain, your eyes are now controlling your brain. Okay, and since your eyes are not connected to genetic memory, okay, they don't operate senses like your taste and your smell and your hearing. Okay, you go get the book, The Fall of God's Eyes. Okay, Your Eyes Are Not Senses by Christopher A. Chaplin. Okay, go to aminra.com and get that book, or go to jesus.com and get the book. All right, over 200 pages of proof that your eyes are not senses. All right, so now this becomes para. So augmented ra. An application has been applied. This is what P is. P-A, parasite. R-A becomes ra. P-A-R-A. Para. Okay? Like parallel. So now the parasite can operate alongside ra because you have been augmented. Okay? Now we have M-O. Okay, so this means mow, to cut down. This is the scythe. All right, this is the scythe. Okay, this is the code. So now we're going to mow and cut down what? We're going to also undo what? T, undo, U-N-T, U-N, undo, T equals ta equals thought. Okay, so we get an application to sever and undo raw thinking. Okay, this is what paramount means. You understand? Okay, if Ra is the top of the mountain, okay, so this means it's going to stand parallel to the top. It's going to operate in place of Ra. This is what it means. Okay, you got it? This is what paramount. The parasite mounted. Even if you use words, okay, I decode with sounds, but even if you use the word meaning to decode itself, it use its own meanings, what they programmed, you have parasite mount. This means the parasite is on top. What is parallel to Ra is now on top. So now we have the two buildings, or we have the wheat and the chaff, right? And one has fallen and one remains. So this is the time period that we are in, people. For you guys who are watching MMA. You got it? You guys are in the spiritual war. You got to see what's happening. Okay? You've seen what's happening with Islam. Okay? I'm against all religions. But I could tell you that Islam is working with, real energy. Okay? Meaning, everybody works for it. But what I'm trying to say, is you would have a person like Ilya that would be a lot of extra shit. You know what I mean? It'd be more spiritual, right? I'm not saying Islam is not spiritual at all. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm basically saying that you'd let's just say it like this, okay? This is going to be easy for you to understand. Islam would be like natural, organic, okay, and Ilya would be like artificial intelligence. Okay, it would be like something that is Islam would be like natural food, natural, organic, and Ilya would be like GMO. Okay, and so when you have a GMO, this is would be like saying it would have more backing. Okay, so you'd have more industry support, let's just say. Okay, but the problem is the industry support cannot overcome an organic source of energy. Okay, so this is why these matchups, you're not going to be seeing it. Okay, because somebody like Armin, or Islam, they're working with real energy. Okay, that they've worked hard for, and they're still in the same system, but they're not playing the same game. You know, understand? So it's like what I'm saying. It's like a religious war. Okay, and you can actually see it playing out in your own eyes. Okay, and so AI is not behind the Islams and the Armenians because that energy is supposed to be controlled as opposition, okay, to the AI and to the other, side of things. You got to remember that this is controlled opposition. So every side is controlled, but the side that is supposed to be good, let's just say, is the Islam, like the Armin, and the side that is not good would be, like the Paddies, the Ilya, okay? Without being offensive to those people, and particularly, I'm just saying the energy and what's the symbology behind it. Okay, you got it. Okay, so this is the sound logic behind what's happening. All right, you have paramount, which is set up as an application to sever. Okay, the Ra's thinking. Okay, so Ra's thinking is sound logic. Okay, and for a lot of you, you don't understand the logic behind these matchups. You don't understand the logic behind the direction of the UFC and many other things. But I'm telling you, this is all part of the World War Sun. Right? Ra is back. For all you guys that are into the fighting and you guys want the real power, you got to come talk to Chappie. You got to come talk to me. Okay? You got to hook up at jesus.com because I can assure you, if your spirits will forbid you from interacting with me, okay, that means your spirits are being dominated and are submissive to me. You understand that? Okay? If you can't look into what I'm doing and look into what I'm saying, this means that your spirit, your energy that you used to fight with, okay, is afraid of me. So this means that if you really want the true power in that ring, okay, of life, especially if you're actually training and getting in the ring, then you want to be connected to Ra. You understand? But knowing that, you're going directly, right? You're now fighting to fight. Okay? You're fighting to fight. Because you're going to see a lot of it. You're going to see a lot of fighters that are going to have great merit and have been working really hard, and they're going to be passed over. They're not going to get matches, and you're going to wonder why, and you're going to want to blame Dana, and they're going to want you to blame all the people. But the truth of the matter is, this is a draconian energy, and they're taking over. They're usurping every human, and they're putting AI and artificial technology that doesn't have senses. Okay, just because cameras and mics are hooked, those are not senses. Okay, they just pick up the sound. Okay, they're recording devices. All right, they're not senses. Okay, it doesn't matter how much technology you can use. At the end of the day, this is what it is. Okay, you have the word versus sound. You have the soul versus, the artificial. All right, you got that? Okay. So that's what it is. This is why you're having the toms backing out with the eye pokes, and you have, it's you're gonna see it, and you're gonna see a lot of fighters that have natural rhythm and soul. They're gonna be rising to the top, and the fighters that are robots, the only thing that's gonna help them is gonna be the system. Okay, the system. That's what you guys are fighting all about. So if you can get punched in the face and all that type of stuff, then you can definitely come connect and get with Ra. Okay, the red sun and the real deal. Okay, stop being with all the fake gods, because all your gods are fake. Okay, and come deal with the real shit. Okay, come deal with the real Ra. Okay, Riot Shoe Bomb. Okay, sourced Aminology. Come get some spiritual coaching and consultation. Okay, get rid of your karmic debt and your spells and all that kind of stuff. All right, people. All right, so we decoded the paramount. Right, I don't have to give the Ta'angodu because I'm not going to do anything for paramount. I'm exposing them, but I don't need to fix that. Okay, this doesn't need fixing. It is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. The only thing good in that right there is Ra. Right? You understand? Everything else can go. It's just Ra. Okay? You understand? UFC, everything. Why do you think you have 8? What's the octagon supposed to represent? Okay? Come on, people. I'm the authority. I'm the sound man. Okay? I'm the sound man. I'm the speaker for Ra. Okay? So, come talk to me. All right? But yeah, this is why the UFC is going to shit. This is why Dana White's looking like he's not as involved in his business as he was before. All the other distractions are just there to make you, rationalize with what's going on. But at the end of the day, everything is being usurped, whether they want to accept it or not, by, artificial intelligence, okay, by the parasite. Okay, and they've now are in the hands of Paramount. Okay, so that's the home, that's the hub of the parasite. Okay, that's the main code. Okay, that's the main code that the UFC is being used for. It's being used for as an application to sever and undo the thinking of Ra. So that means sound. Okay, and the red sun is here, and we have everything else going on. So get to know the works of Christopher A. Chaplin. Okay, get involved with everything that I got going on. Best yet, support, like, share, comment, subscribe. If you want more mentions on the UFC, just make some comments. But I can guarantee, just like every other institution, they don't want me telling you and rationalize why shit's really, really happening. Okay, but you fighters, I'm telling you, anybody who's fighting, you better get yourself mentally protected. Okay, because there's all sorts of spiritual energy happening. Okay, and they will shut you down. Okay, you'll just go flat. Okay, you gotta understand. There's all sorts of energy and shit that you can call it black magic, you can call it voodoo, you can call it whatever you want. Okay, but between all the shit that they can influence, you can be working your ass off, and if they can't control you, you won't get a fight. You understand? You won't get a fight. So they don't have to say that they are rigging anything. Okay, everything is scripted. Okay, and now you're going to see, especially with AI is literally scripting shit. Okay, it's literally going to start putting the matches together, and things are literally going to play out the way it is, because if you guys believe in spirits, then you guys have to believe that there's an organization that controls all of that shit that you call God. Okay? And this system that you call God, well, it can take and remove that spirit of yours. Okay? So this is why I said the fighters that don't get matches, that fight once a year, that hold championships and are the best fighters. Okay, I'm not saying their religion is any better or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you that every Islam, Christianity, Judah, they're all the same false authority of Ra. They're all acting like if their God is the authority, but it is not. Ra, the red sun, Ba'am, the sound, the soul, Ra, Amstem, everything that I am with and I teach is what is. Okay? But what I am telling you, because it is controlled and they no longer can act as Ra, they could only act as the draconian that they are. Okay? On the micro level where you have a competition, they still maintain the controlled opposition. And so the fighters that have the real spiritual energy that is not backed by technology and the media and all that other shit, okay, they are less controllable. So meaning if that they were put into a fight and the technology wanted the lesser fighter to win, there's a less chance of that happening. You understand? So they're going to get less opportunity. Okay? You understand? Okay, I'm just telling you way it is and telling you way in advance what to get used to. Okay? So that's why you guys got to stop fighting around. And since you're fighting, you might as well fight the real fight. Okay? Come to Raw and start fighting for sound. Okay? You want your rhythm and all that stuff. You guys are all, falsely or unknowingly with Raw anyways. You guys are all relying on the raw energy. You're all relying on testosterone and all that stuff. Okay? You understand that? So that's not coming from a God that's, I'm trying to keep this clean. All right? I'm going to end this right here before I start getting a little too. And yeah, just come to Sound Logic. That's what Paramount Olive is. This is what the UFC is now being used for. It's an application to sever and undo Raw's thinking. Now, if anybody out there want to dispute what I am talking about, please come comment. Okay? Because you can. I'm the sound man. I'm the sound messiah. Okay? You got that. Just nobody can fool with me. Okay? This is my science. You got that? True talk.